The Ultimate Arena Top 10 Epic Rivalry of the Wild. Welcome to the front line of nature, the most ancient and relentless conflict. While we often view the natural world through a lens of serene landscape and quiet beauty, beneath that calm exterior lies a theater of war that has been playing out for millions of years. This isn't just a struggle for a meal, it's a high-stake chess match of survival, evolution, and raw power. Today we are sleep tapping into the arena to witness the top 10 epic rivals of the wild. In this countdown, we aren't just looking at random encounter. We are exploring the blood feuds, clash between species that share the same territory, hunt the same prey, and harbor a deep-seated biological animosity for one another. They are the legendary face-off that have defined the boundary of the animal kingdom, from the sun-drenched savanna of Africa to the frozen tigers of Siberia and the musky swamp of the Everglades. The battle represents the ultimate test of strength versus strategy. Imagine the earth-shaking confrontation between a lion pride and a hyena clan, a war of number and cunning that have turned the African night into a tactical battlefield. Picture the sheer muscular force of a Siberian tiger crossing paths with a brown hip bear, a class of titan where the crown of the forest is the only prize, or witness the nightmare-inducing struggle between an apex python and a massive alligator, a prehistoric wrestling match where the first one to lose, they grip lose their life. What happened when the king of the jungle meets its match? How does a solitary hunter survive against a coordinated pack? Through the 10 incredible rivalry, we will uncover the specialized weaponry, the bow crushing yaw, the razor-sharp claw, and the brilliant tactical mind that the warriors use to claim their territory. This is a journey into the heart of the wild, where there's no referee, no second chain, and only one rule: survival of the fittest. Prepare yourself for a masterclass in natural combat. These are the story of the world, the greatest gladiator, the ultimate ruckus match that prove nature is as brutal as it's beautiful. Let the battle begin. At number 10, we open the gate to the most dangerous waterway in Africa for a clash between two of the continent's heaviest hitters, the Nile crocodile and the hippopotamus. This isn't just a fight over a meal, it's a brutal way over territory. In the heat of African sun, water is most precious resource, and the boat of the Titan won total control of the riverbank. On one side you have the Nile crocodile, a prehistoric killing machine with a bite force of 3,700 psi, the strongest of any living animal. On the other, the hippopotamus, a 3,000-pound tank of pure muscle and aggression, armed with ivory tusks that can grow over a foot long. The rivalry here is unique because the hippo is a vegetarian. Yes, it is responsible for more human deaths in Africa than almost any other large animal. They are not notoriously short-tempered gatekeeper of the river. When a crocodile gets too close to a hippo calf, or simply lighter too long in a hippo space, the water explodes. The tactics of this world were fascinating. A crocodile usually dominates the water, but against a hippo, its death roll is often useless because the hippo hide is too thick and its body too massive to rotate. Instead, the hippo uses sheer bone to ram the crocodile or uses massive jaw to crush the armor back. They have been sailing up an entire hippopod surrounding a single crocodile, biting it until its tough scales snap like dry wood. The Nile crocodile versus the hippo earned its spot at number 10 because it represents the heavyweight championship of the river. It's a reminder that even the ocean, the most feared predator, have to think twice before crossing a grumpy hippo. At number 9, we head to the humid, vine-choked swamp of the Florida Everglades for a modern-day class of prehistoric titan, the Burmese python and the American alligator. This is one of the most fascinating rivalry in nature because it's a battle between an ancient king and a mighty invader. For millions of years, the American alligator resided supreme as the undisputed apex predator of the Southwest, but in recent decades, the arrival of the Burmese python is an invasive species from Southeast Asia have turned the Everglades into a high-stake wrestling match. This isn't a food for food, just just a fight for food. This is a war for the very soul of ecosystem. The tactics of this battle are a masterclass in contrasting style of assassination. On one side, the alligator is a strike and crush fighter, while with a bite force of nearly 3,000 psi, is aimed to glass the snake. Crack is against the water and snap its spine in seconds. On the other side, the python is still and squeaky specially. It uses heat-sensing pit to track the alligator in total darkness, strike with lightning speed and wrap its muscular coil around the alligator's chest. The goal to stop the alligator's heart and lung from moving. The educational shocker of the rivalry is the sheer scale of the encounter. The battle can last for hours, sometimes ending in a gruesome stalemate. There have been documented cases where pythons successfully swallow a massive alligator, only for the alligator's sharp claw or sheer volume to cause the python to literally explode. It's a brutal or nothing conflict where the line between the predator and the prey blur in a tangle of skill and team. The Burmese python and the American alligator earned its spot at number 9 because it represents the ultimate wrestling match of the wild. It proves that even an established king can be challenged when a new, powerful contender enters the ring. At number 8, we leave the swamp for the dirt-choked land of the African savanna to witness the most ancient and bitter food fields in the history of animal kingdom. The spotted hyena, the African lion, is just a rivalry, is a full-scale, multi-generational war. This conflict is so deeply rooted in the DNA that researchers have observed lion cubs and hyena pups showing instinctive aggression toward one another before they have had their first hunt. It's the battle of the king and the clan. And this is the teacher where there's no rule, only survival. The rivalry between the two is unique because they are direct competitor for every single scrap of meat on the savannah. For decades, popular culture portrayed hyena as mere scavenger waiting for lion leftover. But modern science have revealed a much darker truth. Hyena hunt as much as 95% of their own food, and this often the lion will swoop it into a swell into to steal the hyena the hard-earned kill. This constant cycle of thief and retaliation has turned the African night into a tactical battlefield where every meal is potential death trap. The tactics of this war are a fascinating study in strength and strategy. On one side, the lion represents the ultimate physical power. A single male lion weighs over 400 pounds. He is super soldier. He can take on 4 or 5 hyenas at once, using his massive paw to break spine and hit 600 psi bite to crush skull. Lions are the heavy artillery of the savanna. They present alone can scatter a small group of hyena in seconds. However, the spotted hyena is the master of asymmetric warfare. What they lack in individual size, they make up for in number, endurance, and terrifying intelligence. Hyenas live in highly organized clans led by a dominant alpha male, alpha female. They use complex vocalization, the chilling laugh, and the woof to call for reinforcement. When the clan reaches a critical mass surrounding the lion from all angles, nipping at its high quarter and wearing it down through sheer exhaustion, a hyena is one of the strongest in the world at 1,100 psi, stronger than a lion, allowing them to literally eat the bone of their enemy. The education shock this fuel is psychological depth. Lions don't just kill hyenas for food, they often kill them to eliminate the competition. A male lion will go out of his way to track down and kill an alpha female hyena, knowing that her death will destabilize the entire clan. Conversely, hyena will target lone, aging lion or defense-led calf to weaken the pride future. It's a brutal, cold-blooded strategy of population control that has been playing out for over 10 million years. The lion versus the hyena earned its spot at number 8 because it's the ultimate tactical war of the wild. It's proof that in nature, raw power is formidable, but a coordinated, intelligent army can challenge even the mightiest king. It's a never-ending circle of check and mate play out under the African moon. At number 7, we witness a high-stake game of assassination defense. defense. In the African bush, the leopard and the warthog. This is a simple predator-prey interaction. This is one of the most dangerous gamble in the wild. On one side, you have the leopard, the silent god, a master of stealth and precision. On the other, the warthog, a slow-slung, a 200-pound tank of muscle, thirst, and explosive temper. The rivalry between the two is legendary because the leopard is only one predator brave or desperate enough to follow a warthog into its own home. Warthog is living underground burrows, often stolen from avars. When a warthog sees a leopard, it doesn't just run, it's back into its hole, facing the entry with its little, rather sharp tusks pounding outward. They turn the burrow into a fossilized spear. For a leopard, reaching into that hole is like reaching into a bag of knives. The tactics of this war are masterclass in patience and power. The least body a special of fighter. It doesn't rely on brute force, it relies on perfect strike. A leopard will wait for hours in total silence above the burrow, drive across the tree limb of flattened against the dust. It knows that one wrong move from the warthog, a movement of curiosity or a laugh in word, is all its need. When the leopard strikes, it aims for precise suffocation bite to the throat, hoping to end the fight before the warthog can swing its tusk. However, the warthog is a brawler. If the leopard falls to kill it instantly, the warthog transforms into a whirlwind of violence. Despite their comical appearance, warthogs are incredibly fast, capable of hitting 50 km per hour. Their lower tusks are keep needle sharp in rubbing against the upper one, and they can disassemble a leopard with a single upward thrust. There are many records victory for the warthog, when where few almost leave the leopard with light trailing us. forcing the cat to retreat and heal for weeks. The educational shock of this rivalry is the leopard the locker room strategy because leopards are solitary and don't have a pride to protect them. They cannot afford a single injury. If a leopard successfully kills a warthog, it fakes its neck challenge. The odds a leopard can carry a carcass heavier than its own body weight 20 feet up a vertical tree trunk. This is the only way to keep the prey safe from the bully of the savanna, like lion and hyena, is a grueling display of raw physical strength that follow a hard-pounding tactical hunt. The leopard versus the warthog earned its spot at number 7 because it represents the high-stake edge of the wild. It proved that in the animal kingdom, even the most skillful assassin can be humbled by a defender with nothing to lose like and a pair of sharp talons. It's a battle of inches where the smallest may take resource in fatal reversal for fortune. At number 6, we leave the heat of savanna and head to the frozen egg of the world for a glass of titan, the polar bear and the walrus. This is the ultimate Goliath battle of the Arctic. On one side, you have the largest land carnivore on Earth, the polar bear, a 1,500-pound wide god of the ice. One on the other, the walrus, a 3-ton fortress of blubber and bone, armed with ivory tusks that can reach 3 feet in length. The rivalry here is one of desperate necessity and immense risk. For polar bear, a walrus is the ultimate prey. A single kill provides enough of fat and calorie for sustain the bear for weeks in the harshest environment on the planet. But for a walrus, a polar bear is the only thing standing between it and a painful light on the eye. This is a hunt that happens every day. It's a high-stake gamble that a bear only takes when it's truly hungry, because one wrong move meant death and a life-altering injury. The tactics of this war are a fascinating study in agility and mass. The polar bear is an infiltrator. It doesn't charge into a herd of 100 warriors blindly. Instead, it uses psychological warfare. The bear will approach a haul out, a massive group of warriors wrestling on the eye, and start a stampede. It's looking for the weakling, a calf, or an injury order that gets separated from the safety of the group. The bear goal is to isolate its target and use its massive paw and 1000 psi bite to find a weak spot in the walrus' 3-inch thick skin. However, the walrus is a living tank. If the bear fails to kill the walrus instantly on the eye, the matter moves toward the water, where the walrus have the home field advantage. A walrus doesn't sit there, it fights back with terrifying power. They use their tusks like eye pick, swinging them with enough force to crack a bear's skull or pilot's lung. In the water, a walrus can easily draw a bear or penis against the eye flows. There are many documented cases of the hunter becoming the hunt, where a polar bear is found with massive puncture wound from a walrus that refused to be a mule. The education shock of this rivalry is the sheer stamina involved. The battle can last for hours. A bear might spend half a day trying to wear down a single walrus, testing its defense, looking for an opening, and thrilling when the tusks get too close. It's a cruel marathon of survival. Because the walrus is so well protected by its blubber and thick hide, the bear often has to focus on the head or the neck, leading to a bloody, visceral struggle that looks like a scene from a prehistoric era. The polar bear versus the walrus earned its spot at number 6 because it represents the world of the Arctic giant. It proved that in the coldest place on Earth, hunger can drive even the most cautious predator to fake a monster 3 times its size. It's a brutal reminder that in the wild, the bigger they are, the harder they fight back. At number 5, we travel to the dense emerald jungle of India for one of the most unpredictable and explosive revival in the natural world. The Bengal tiger versus the sloth bear. This is a class of two very different psychology of survival. On side you have the Bengal tiger, the perfect assassin, a 500-pound masterpiece of stealth, muscle and calculated lethality. On the other, the sloth bear, a shaggy 3-pound brother with a reputation for being the most volatile and fearless animal in the forest. The rivalry between the two is legendary because it breaks all the rules of predator and prey. Usually, a predator only attacks what it can easily kill, and a smaller animal usually runs away from the tiger. But the sloth bear follows the script. Despite being smaller and technically brave for a tiger, sloth bear have never have a never back down attitude that border on insanity. They are the honest beggar of the big bear world. This conflict usually erupts at watering hole during the dry season, when neither side is willing to share the space. The tactics of this war are a fascinating study in Brazilian and chaos. The Bengal tiger is a tactician. It's one a quick, clean kill, usually a bite to the neck to serve the spinal cord. A tiger with a stalk will stalk a slow bat from the shadow, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Tigers have the advantage of weight, speed, and fall in long canine teeth. They are built for the finished move. However, the sloth bear is a berserker. When attacked, it doesn't run. It stands up on its hind leg and charges into the tiger. Sloth bear have four-inch curved claw designed for digging into a rock, hard to mice mouth, but in a fight, the claw becomes a terrifying hook that can tear a tiger's face open. Because their fur is so thick and shaggy, it acts as a layer of loose armor, making it very difficult for the tiger to get a firm grip on the bear's neck. The sloth bear will scream, roar, and flail its claw in a wild for aggression that often overwhelms the tiger's predatory instinct. The educational shock of this rivalry is the psychological warfare. Tigers are solitary hunters who cannot afford a serious injury. A broken leg or a blinded eye means certain death by starvation. The sloth bear seems to know this by being too much trouble to kill. The bear often wins the fight simply by making the tiger decide that the meal is worth the risk. There's famous footage of mother sloth bear driving up a massive male tiger to protect her cub, proving that in the jungle, crazy often beats strong. The Bengal tiger and sloth bear earned its spot at number 5 because it represents the right to survive versus the power to kill. It proved that a smaller opponent with enough courage and aggression can stand it grow against the king of the jungle. It's a raw, loud, and terrifying spectacle that defies the spirit of the Indian wilderness. At number 4, we travel to the labyrinthine wasteland of Brazilian Pantano to witness the most specialized assassination mission in the animal kingdom. The Yago versus the Yakia Cayman. This is a rivalry that redefines the relationship between predator and prey, because here the hunter enters the home of monster to take its crown. On one side we have the jaguar, the apex predator of the America, a 300-pound powerhouse of muscle and spotted camouflage. On the other, the Yakia cayman, a prehistoric reptile that can grow up to 8 feet long, armed with a mouthful of yaga teeth and armor skin that feel like stone. The rivalry between the two is unique because in almost every other part of the world, a large crocodilian is the intimate no-go zone. For a cat, lion and leopard usually avoid others crocodile at all costs, but the jaguar have evolved into a specialized reptile hunter. In the Pantana, caiman aren't just an occasional meal; they are a staple of jaguar diet. This has created an evolutionary arms race where the cat have developed the most powerful bite of any feline on the planet. A bite strong, it doesn't just go for the throat, it goes for the brain. Tactics in this world are masterclass in skill and awareness. The jaguar is a god of riverbank. It can swim almost as well as it can climb, and its use take vegetation of the shoreline to stalk a basking caiman. The jaguar approach is silent, often involving a swim across open water with only its eye and ear breaking the surface. The goal is the perfect strike, one the jaguar lung. It doesn't waste time with its suffocation bite. It uses massive canines to pierce the caiman's skull or the back of its neck, instantly shattering the reptile's central nervous system. However, the jaguar caiman is a sensory frustrate. The skinny embedded with bony blades color all status, and they have incredibly sensitive vibration detecting organ along their jaw. If a caiman detects a riffle in the water or snap a twig, it can vanish into the depth and in a split second. If the jaguar misses the initial strike and the battle moves into deep water, the advantage shifts. A caiman in its element is a spinning, thrusting force of nature. It can use its powerful tail to knock a jaguar off balance or drag the cat underwater to drown it. The educational shock of this rivalry is the jaguar, the anatomical specialization. Unlike other big cats that kill by biting the white pie, the jaguar skull is reinforced to withstand the pressure of crushing bone. There are two only cats that regularly hunt armored prey like turtle and caiman. Watching a jaguar emerge from the water with a 80-pound caiman claim in its jaw, dragging it up a steep, muddy bank as if there were a hawkcat with a mouth, is a display of broad, functional power that unmatched in the wild. The jaguar and the jaguar caiman earned its spot at number 4 because it represents the special art of the jungle. It proves that with the right combination of steel, aquatic skill, and bone-crushing power, a predator can invade the territory of a prehistoric monster and walk away as the victor. It is a stunning example of how nature creates specially to conquer even the most formidable defense. At number 3, we leave the land behind and dive into the deep blue expanse of the open ocean for the ultimate battle of the Titan, the orca and the great white shark. For decades, popular culture from Jaw to Discovery Channel and the great white shark are the undisputed, terrifying king of the ocean. But recent scientific discovery and harrowing drone footage have revealed a shocking truth. When the two opaque predators cross paths, there's only one true ruler of the sea, and it's the shark. This rivalry is fascinating study in apex and apex. On one side, you have the great white shark, a 3-ton cold-blooded killing machine with a lineage dating back millions of years. It is a solitary hunter, armed with round or separate triangular teeth and a sensory system that can detect a drop of blood in a million gallons of water. On the other side, the orca, killer whale, is a 12,000-pound mammalian super soldier. Orcas are actually whales. They are the largest species of dolphin, and they possess the most sophisticated tactical mind in the animal kingdom. The tactics of this world are a masterclass in intelligence and instinct. The great white shark is an ambush assassin. It relies on speed and surprise, launching itself from the depth to deliver a devastating hit and run by. But again, an Oscar, the shark, the instinct for fail. The Oscar is a strategic commander. Oscar don't hunt alone. They hunt in highly coordinated spot. When they target a great white, they use their precise and speed to ram the shark's flank, disorienting, disorienting it. The the educational shock of this rivalry is this occurs you a biological hacking. Occur have discovered a glaze in the shark the anatomy called tonic immobility. If a shark flips upside down, its brain enters a state of paralysis, leaving it completely helpless. Orca have been observed working together to flip a red white onto its back, holding it there until it suffocates. Once the shark is immobilized, the orca perform a surgical strike, using the precision to tear out the shark's liver, a massive organ rich in energy, dense oil, and leaving the rest of the carcass behind. The psychological impact of this rivalry is profound. In regions like South Africa and California, researchers have seen the entire population of great white shark vanish overnight. After just one or two orca attack, the sharks, sensing the phenomenon of their fallen kin, will abandon their prime hunting ground for months or even years. The terror of the deep becomes the terrified when the orca arrive. This orca versus the great white shark earns spot number 3 because it represents the world of intelligence. It proves that in the vastness of the ocean, raw power and ancient instinct are no match for a high IQ, coordinated team of mammalian hunters. A stunning reminder that even the most fierce predators have a watchman they are afraid of. At number 2, we return to the flooded forest and musky riverbank of the Amazon for a collision of two very different nightmares: the green anaconda versus the jaguar. This is the ultimate steel versus strength. Gruesome match. On one side, you have the green anaconda, the heaviest snake in the world, a 500-pound quite a per constricting muscle that can grow over 20 feet long. On the other, the jaguar, the king of the jungle, a 300-pound feline assassin with the most powerful bite of any big cat. The rivalry between the two high-stake game of Wuxi Funfer. In the Amazon, the environment is the third player in the fight. If the battle happens in solid ground, the jaguar has the advantage of spread, agility, and its bone-crusting bite. But if the fight moves into the tight, stiff mud or the dirty colored water, the anaconda becomes a nearly invisible living noose. This is the fight for the meal. This is the clash between the master of land and the titan of the water. The tactics of this war are a masterclass in precision and persistence. The jaguar is a surgical striker. When it targets an anaconda, it knows it cannot afford to get caught in a single coil. The jaguar uses incredible camouflage to stalk the snake while it's basking on a log or a mud bank. The category is a skill shot, a single massive bite to the back of the snake's skull or the upper spine, instantly paralyzing the giant reptile. Jaguars are remarkably brave. They will dive into the water to grab a snake twice their weight, relying on their explore power to drag it to shore. However, the green anaconda is a world of muscle. An anaconda does have venom. It has leverage. Its body is essentially one giant flexible piston. If the snake can avoid the initial bite and wrap even a single coil around the jaguar's chest, the fight is over. Every time the jaguar exhales, the anaconda tightens its grip, preventing the cat from taking another breath. The pressure is so immense it can snap, breathe, and stop the heart in minutes. In the water, the anaconda can use its wet to drown the jaguar, slowly turning the king of the jungle into a submerged fish. The educational shocker of this rivalry is the risk to reward ratio. For jaguar, attacking an anaconda is an extreme sport. One slip up means death by suffocation. For the anaconda, attacking a jaguar is equally dangerous. A jagged claw can drag through a snake's skin, causing massive internal damage even if the snake wins the struggle. There have been documented cases in mutual destruction where both animals are found dead, the cat drowned in the snake's goy, and the snake's skull crushed in the cat final. Desperate by the green anaconda versus the jaguar earned its spot at number 2 because it represents the world of the Amazonian titan. It proved that in the rainforest there's no such thing as a safe hunt. It's a brutal primal wrestling match where the line between the hunter and the hunter is as thin as single breed. At the absolute summit of our list, we travel to the frozen primeval forest of the Russian far east from the ultimate class of the titan, the Siberian tiger versus the Ussuri brown bear. This is not justified in the most legendary heavyweight championship in the natural world. In every other part of the planet, tiger and bear usually avoid each other, but in the snowy wilderness of the Amur region, these two apex predators share the same trail, hunt the same prey, and incredibly, they hunt each other. The rivalry between the two is unique because it's a perfectly balanced world of total power versus perfect vision. On one side, you have the Siberian armored tiger, the largest cat on earth, a 600-pound masterpiece of orange and black muscle, capable of leaping 30 feet in a single bound. On the other, the Ussuri brown bear, a 900-pound wall of fur, bone and raw aggression, armed with claw-like steel hook and a skull that can withstand the impact of a slagger hammer. The tactics of this war are fascinating study in the assassin and the tank. The Siberian tiger is a high-value target specialist. Tigers are remarkably bold. They have been documented stalking, hibernating bear or ambushing smaller female. The tiger used the deep tiger forest to stay invisible, launching a precision strike from behind. Its goal is a single, devastating bite to base or spear skull or the throat. If the tiger can end the fight in the first 5 seconds, it wins the ultimate meal that can sustain it for a month. However, the Ussuri bear is a forest of resistance. If the tiger fails to kill the bear instantly, the battle transforms into a brutal, grinding war of attrition. The bear uses massive weight to pin the tiger to the front row, while the tiger has more weaponry, 4 pounds with claw and a little bite. The bear has stamina and durability. A bear's hide so thick and its neck muscles so massive that the tiger often struggles to find a kill spot. Bears have been known to follow tiger tracks for miles, not to scavenge but to actively pulling the tiger of its skill, leading to explore face-off where the forest floor is torn to shreds. The educational shock of this rivalry is the reversal of fortune. Researchers from the Siberian Tiger Project show that win-loss record is almost perfectly 50-50 split. It's about half of the recorded fatal encounter, the tiger killed the bear. In the other half, the bear killed the tiger. There's no relationship in natural quite like this, where two different species to aspect predator view each other as both a threat and a potential food source. If the only place on earth where a cat regularly hunt a bear and a bear regularly hunt a cat, the Siberian tiger versus the Ussuri brown bear earned the top 1 spot because it represents the ultimate grass mass of the wild. It's a battle between the two most powerful land carnivores in the northern hemisphere, class of king where there's no retreat, no surrender, and only one rule of the tiger is the most intense, evenly much and terrifying rivalry ever recorded in the history of life on Earth.